Welcome friends, and today we are going to learn about routing. We have already gone through routing in our first tutorial when we are learning about controller, about routing, but that was called conventional based routing. But there is another concept of routing that is called attribute routing, and which is started in MVC 5. So today we are going through following topics: what is attribute routing, how to enable it, controller level routing, action level routing, and area level routing, optional URI parameter and default values, route constant, and route name. So from interview point of view, you can get question what is attribute routing and how to enable it. So in MVC 5, a new type of routing started which is called attribute routing, and to enable attribute routing in our application we have to write route.map MVC attribute route. We have to call this function with our conventional based routing. So let's try it in our demo. So let's create a new controller. Let's call it home. Let's create a view without layout, empty, and in our root.config.cs we have to enable our attribute level routing by writing or calling map MVC attribute route function. So okay, next we add one more controller. Let's call it shop. So next, action level routing. So as already told you, there are routing can be at action level and control level. So let's learn on first action level routing. You can define route at action level which apply to a specific action within the controller. So these are the some way. So let's do some demo so that you can be more clear on that. So let's write one new function, stream. Let's one more function. Let's say cloth. Let's say from cloth. So there are one original way we can call it by just calling controller shop and calling our function footwear. And if we want, that user can type a URL like so whenever user write my shop and show in URL, he moves to this function. Let's try it. Okay. So here we get our default index of home, and we are moving to my shop and show. So here we are. And again if user write URL like shop and cloth and shirt, then he should move to following method. So let's rebuild. And yeah, so one shirt in cart from cloth. So we are seeing if user writing these URL, then he is moving in these methods. Okay, great. One more thing now, as we have defined active level routing, so now user will not be able to access using shop and footwear URL. I mean, like we have controller shop and function footwear, but user will not be able to accept it because of we have defined new routing. But if we want, then we can define one more routing URL for it, and that will be like show. We still want our original way of calling it, so we can write multiple routing URLs. Okay, see, now we are able to access it using shop footwear and also by my shop. Show. And if we want our index method should be default for our shop controller, then we can do it like and tilde and slash. So now this will be our default function for shop controller. Now we write shop. Okay, because we don't have a view for it, so let's add one view. So here it is. Oh, again we are getting error. The response cannot be found. Let's see it. Shop from. Let's try it from here. Okay, I have index of the shoe controller and index method. So this now became our default method for our application, and it will be overwrite over this home index method. So now this will be our default index method of our MVC application. So now other question is, can we have optional URI parameter and default values? So if we have some parameter and we want it be required parameter should be passed by the user, then we can do it like in this way. So let's try it. If you want user always pass some parameter, then we can use this way. Bracket pro, this is our parameter, and let's try it. This way user have always write some parameter. Let's write trimmer and see one product cart trimmer. So this was our parameter. And if we want that it's not compulsory for the user to pass the parameter, then we can write question mark on that parameter as we do in C#. So if we make like this, so now it's not compulsory to pass the parameter by user. So here it is. If you will just write like this, then also he is moving to the method, but you are not getting any value. And if you want, if user not passing any value, then we can also define our default value. So if user don't pass any value, then we can write like this, and default it can be blade. So if user not passing anything, then we get blade our value, if user want to pass some parameter, then we are getting that also. Okay, great. And we are going to require parameter, default parameter and optional parameter. And last, still if we are not writing any attribute, then the user can call that function using shop as a controller and gold as a attribute. So if user is not passing any attribute, then he can call that method as it is. So next is controller level routing. You can define route at controller level which apply to all action within the control unless a specific route has it to an action. As we have seen, we are writing my shop in every action. Instead of that, we can also do like route prefix my shop, and from here we can remove it like here and here. And to make it default, we have to write it like this, and here we have to write one more thing, that action. It is like we are defining this my shop prefix for all these methods. So we are writing here root action, and let's try it. Build. Okay, we have to write it like this. Yes. So now we are able to access all our method in the same way as we are doing in attribute level. Like if we call it my shop shoe, my shop cloth, shirt, and we are able to access our second method. In the same we can access our last method. And now if we write like this, so now this index will be a default method for our this controller. So let's, if we write only my shop, then we are able to access our index method. So this is our controller level, and same default parameter, optional parameter, one original root. Okay, last one. These all above we have seen in our attribute level demo, and now we will see if we want our method to be accessible like this. We don't want it to be a let's write it. Okay, if we have some method like gold and we don't want that it should be called like my shop and gold, we want it should be like shop with our original controller and with original method, then we can write this way. This will overwrite our root prefix my shop. So let's try it. Shop gold, like shop and gold. Okay, so we are able to access our gold method if you want it like as per our original URL. Next, attribute routing for area. So here is also everything same, only we can write some area like root area. We have some admin, or we have some our account department which has in a separate area. So we can define root area, admin, and all other things will be remain same as we have discussed just now. So let's try to add area. Okay, and here it is. And now we have to access admin, my shop, and show. If we want to call show function, we have to write admin, my shop, and show. So let's see it. So my shop function, we have to write admin. Okay, see, now we have built to access our show method, but we have to define our area, then our controller or new attribute, or then our action method or our new attribute action method. This is attribute routing for area. Yeah. Now next, root constant. Root constant let you restrict how the parameter in the root template are matched. The general syntax is parameter colon constant. So let's see it. Suppose we have one more function and that is shoes, and we want, let's write next one also. And if you want, whenever user write some parameter in integer, then it should move to this method which has the integer parameter. If he writes some string in his parameter, then that should automatically move to this method. And we have both method with the same name, shoes, only differences by writing parameter. So whenever user write my shop shoe and shoe size, then it will move to this, and whenever user write my shop shoe and some brand name, then it will move to this method. So let's try it. So this is a constant we are defining here. If you see shoe size and int, so shoe size is our parameter, and int we are saying that user will write some integer value. So shop shoe, and it needs some parameter because we have not make it optional, it is mandatory. So if we write brand Puma, okay, my shop shoe Puma, let's rebuild it, my shop straight. Let's type first one. Okay, error. Sorry, we have added here one more parameter, but we are in controller level, so just we remove it, and from here we remove it area. Now it should work. So let's move it. So see, so size is 1, so size is 6, and if we writing brand Puma, soon is Puma, say what. So by using constant we can make our application work according to our parameter value. Okay, great. Root constant is also clear, so move to next, root name. So they are generally needed if we want to define some URL, then we can give name to our root. So let's see it. Suppose we have one function in our menu. We have a test function and we are defining root name for that root, that is my test URL. So in our sorry, so in our home index, if you want to define some URL, so this is basically when we want to make our URL I would say developer friendly. So here just writing this URL, my test URL, and my test URL we have defined for this method. So whenever user click on that URL, it will automatically come to this function. So basically this is more benefit for the developer level. So let's see it in action. Okay. Let's try it from here. It will come to the basic index, and let's call test, and you see I am test method of my test URL. So I am test method of my test URL. Okay, great. Thanks for watching my videos, and I hope you like it. So see you in our next session. Thank you.